right, good morning and welcome to the Bipolar Sunrise. I'm your host, Garrett Nichols.
I'm Ryan Sullivan.
And we're here today again with John and Nate Dogg. I'm going to thank our sponsors first thing in the morning, Nature's Paradise Health Food Store, Ma's Tattoo Company, Emporia Training Center, and Emporia Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I wanted to get started this morning. John, you said you were going to take a dive into the pyramids and stuff last week, and I was interested on what you found out about that.
Did watch a few videos. I probably got about an hour's worth of stuff in there. Pretty much everything we had already talked about, stuff being about a mile under the pyramids in coils they found.
Yeah, those structures that come down,
Yeah,
that seem to be holding the pyramids up apparently have some sort of a spiraling.
they don't know if it's a staircase or copper tubing or something, maybe both. Not really for sure, but yeah, did you do any research on it?
No, I was all relying on you to.
Well, we're still in about the same fucking boat. Don't know a whole lot more than not knowing anything last week because nobody can prove anything. But of course, there's a bunch of theories of being power plant and.
Yeah, I think that's kind of now been, as theories go on what the pyramids were, before anybody even knew that the coil type, structures were underneath the pyramids. That was some people's theory that they would use the water that was underneath as some sort of a
Cooling
way.
system.
I don't know if it was cooling or a way to produce hydrogen from the.
Maybe both.
Or
I mean,
maybe
like Wolf
both.
Creek and all your power plants all have bodies of water around them to cool things down.
Yeah.
But now they're like, okay. I found it funny they think we had things figured out before. A bunch of people moving gigantic fucking blocks around.
A bunch of slaves.
But
yeah.
now they're like, well, how'd they have the technology to do this? And obviously the foundation had to have been there before the pyramids were there, which would have taken, God, who knows how long. Well, it depends how they're there. It could have been done instantly by aliens.
Well, as far as we know, as our technology, our current technology goes, we don't have the capability to move the largest stones that are in the pyramid.
No.
There's the King's Chamber, the stone above the King's Chamber, which sets almost 400 feet in the air, is 75 tons. We can't move a 75-ton stone. We don't have a truck to move a 75-ton stone.
It's really hard to move a 75-ton block, even with, like you said, the technology we got today.
And cut it.
Right.
Form
Precision
it,
cuts.
precision cut, not chiseling it.
cut.
You see those guys that they go in, they drill several holes in some type of rock that's a lot softer, and then they chisel it, and then it breaks off and pretty straight. That's not granite. Granite doesn't work that way.
I did see one where they're drilling holes, like you said, and then they'd put water in, then would freeze it, and then the water would expand, which would crack the block.
Yeah, but the timeline that the current mainstream academia gives is like 24 years to build the pyramid.
They weren't there.
Well, you have to take this into consideration, the amount of slave labor, to let's just say a 24-year timeline to build these pyramids. 2,300,000 stones ranging from 1 ton up to 75 tons. That would be generational stonemasons to cut precision stones like that. Like you'd have to have your son, it'd be great grandpa, passed down to father, passed down to son. You're not squeezing 6 generations into perfecting stonemasonry in 24 years. And I think that the estimate is you would have to place a block every 10 minutes, 24 hours a day, and that's also getting them perfectly geometrically aligned with one another, not only to face true north, but then to not be wrong when you get to the top of the pyramid and realize, oh man, I placed that one stone at the bottom wrong. And they didn't, they were cut at an angle at the face, but also as you're building up in this direction, your lines are going straight at the top and bottom, but they're not straight. They have to be angled, and then you have the 6 sides of the pyramid, not 3, to where your stone's also concave slightly. So you have to have a stone that looks, it's not square. They're not cinder blocks that they're just placing on top of one another that have been poured. They're carved stone. So the 24-year timeline, I have no idea how that would have occurred.
Maybe they built a gigantic cube and then just cut it afterwards.
So what made the pharaohs decide to bury themselves in this.
There was that's a misnomer. They've never found
anything.
any.
That's funny, we were all taught this in school, their tombs were the whatever, and there has not yet been a body ever found.
So is there any purpose they found behind the rooms then? You know, where they've got the different rooms and the different, is there?
Well, now, of course, there's theories, but it's completely separate from the mainstream. The theories are these rooms were either hydrogen, they collected hydrogen there, and these, because there's tunnels too, you know, and they're not like pathways. It's not like it's a walking tunnel. They're you know, angled. I think it goes up and into the what they call the King's Chamber, which is another odd deal. Why'd they call it the King's Chamber? There was nothing found in there. They found obelisks and boxes in there, but no bodies in them. And they wouldn't be. They were the size. They were way bigger than what a tomb would be. You know, it's interesting. It's very interesting still to me. But I just think that they were there. These dynastic Egyptians showed up, and they're like, well, let's make it our own, you know. Well, we took it over. We know that there's been a lot of people that during the years have found the pyramids and then used them as target practice. You know, I mean, they're over the centuries they've been defaced completely. So we really have no idea. There's speculation on what they must have looked like. I think that there was casing stones on the outside of the pyramids as well, polished granite, so it would have looked more like a mirror or something.
Yeah, they definitely were, and then there's like a crystal of some sort at the top.
Yes.
But another thing that made me kind of think maybe differently, let's say that those structures have been there for 10 times longer than they said they've been. Sand's eventually gonna come up and put stuff around it. So maybe those pillars aren't a mile underground. Maybe they were like above ground at one time.
But how'd all the sand get there?
When? I mean, sand,
When and how, yeah.
I mean, floods, everything moves stuff around.
I know, but you're talking about a flood moving billions and billions of tons of sand.
Right?
From where? The ocean floor?
Yeah, I mean, wherever. I mean, deserts change all the time. That's why they can't really map them out.
But I think
They
that
keep blowing the shit into the same direction. Well, kind of like Esther Island. They found out those aren't just heads, they're full bodies. How the sand get up around there? So over the years is gonna happen.
Yeah,
You
but-
leave this place here for 20 years, the dust is gonna be inches thick. You let that go for millions or thousands, hundreds of thousands of years,
but
it's gonna make a difference.
it's not going to be, it's going to be millions of years.
Yeah.
So that would put the pyramids dating back 100,000 times as long.
Again,
as
I
they
don't
were
know. It's
supposed
just
to be.
something I was throwing out there.
Yeah,
And then they were talking about like the
you.
Tesla thing. Like apparently he found a way to get free energy and stuff worldwide, but they shut him down. And when he passed away, they took all his stuff. And maybe Pyramid was just a bigger version of that.
Very well could have been. Maybe that was the power plant that passed it, because they say there's a lot of buildings that have what they would consider antennas on the top.
Yeah.
Or some sort of way to
Harness it.
catch waves, harness the electricity. It's basically Bluetooth, but instead of just a signal, it's sending electric through the air. Or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that was a theory. I can't really remember what they call it.
Tesla coil.
Yeah, I knew that, but I don't know if that went off. Was it radio waves? I can't remember. There was some sort of wavelength they were going on to get in tune with that. And then you could actually power a toaster without plugging it in.
Why hide that technology though? Well,
Money.
There's
No
Yeah.
money to be made from it.
money, but they're
Control.
like, we have this technology, we're gonna hide it and use this shit technology of electricity where you have to either put electric lines way up in the air or bury them. Why wouldn't they just profit off of the already existing technology that they
Oil
had and say,
companies,
guess what, I came up with that. Yeah, it just
they
doesn't.
need to burn coal and stuff for, nuclear stuff. I mean, if you, all of a sudden free electricity, nobody's making money off it. It's like the reason
It's all about
gasoline.
control, yeah.
Yeah, control. You control people by controlling what they need.
Like the current climate that we're in, where drug companies are controlling the health of just stick to the United States. The foods that we have on our shelves are horrible. Processed and ultra processed foods lead to a decline in the population, which makes most dependent on some kind of a SSRI, a statin drug, diabetes pill. You know, if you keep the population, but now we have the internet and there's all this research going on. But this is another problem that I see. Okay, so I've been doing the carnivore diet almost 30 days. I'm almost 30 days in on this. And so I follow a couple of carnivore pages, and I'll see somebody new come on there and say, I've started the carnivore diet, I'm constipated. I saw this when I was moderating on bodybuilding forums back in the day. Whatever the current popular theory is, everybody just repeats that over and over. Like, say, people would say, well, you need to get on testosterone and you only need to do 600 milligrams a week and you can't do this and can't do that. And then as time goes by, more people experiment with it and they say, no, it's way better to do less testosterone and more. But in those forums, the same people, because it's like a popularity contest, and if you're going against the norm, well, get this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And so you get these guys that are on the fringe that are saying, no, it's way better to do this. Well, I see with the carnivore diet, not because it's just because I'm aware of it right now, because I'm doing it. And all these pages, they just spew the same propaganda because it's the norm. And everybody agrees on these simple things, like you use butter and, cooking with butter constantly. I don't know that having that much saturated fat's good. Like, put butter in your coffee in the morning, like, why? Okay, why are you adding the butter? Because you need extra fat? You know what I mean? So a lot of these things on this carnivore diet, I see people, and everyone's an expert in it then. You can be an expert because everybody agrees with you.
Right.
So you're popular now, like, oh, this guy, he's saying the right things because they agree with that. And anybody that disagrees with that, they get ridiculed and shamed on these social forums. That, no, that's not true. That's not true. Well, you don't know. You did zero research into it. You're using anecdotal evidence from your experience and then spewing it to other people. And if they go off of that, you'll get kicked out of the group. Oh, you're spewing nonsense. This isn't carnivore. Well, okay, what is? Well, because we really don't know. We don't know. I don't think that processed food is good for you, but I don't know that only eating meat for eternity is the
We've
right
talked
thing
about
to
like
do.
moderation goes a long ways with everything you do.
And eating whole foods,
No, definitely.
I think
No
that
processed foods goes a long ways.
a guy gave a theory to me here several weeks ago, but this is, in your climate wherever you live. So there's some, I think that let's say Alaskan people, the Eskimos, that their entire, health and wellness relies on whale blubber and meat from fish and whales. That's all they have. So like, that's their diet because that's the only thing they have.
Right. So
How long do they live? How long would they live if they had some vegetables or some nightshade plants? Which leads me.
I sent the video to all you guys.
So because of
Did you
that,
finish that video?
I haven't finished it yet, but
I looked into it a little bit.
That guy's kind of full of shit a little bit on some things,
Some of the
but
things
a lot of the truth he exaggerates a little
He
bit.
exaggerates because
Yeah.
he was talking about the amount of nicotine in nightshade plants. So I went and looked.
Right.
And looked a few things up, some key points from the video I took, which he
What was the
saying
main one? Was like the
eggplant
Yeah.
that had the most nicotine, second to
celery?
tobacco plants.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But it's such a minute amount
Yeah.
compared to.
it was micrograms versus milligrams, and the micrograms is so small that nobody's going to get any kind of buzz or any kind of reaction from that small amount of nicotine. So
You'd have to eat eggplants all day, and that's your only source to get that much, to get the amount of nicotine that you could get in a nicotine pouch, for example.
Right.
So you can derive the nicotine from the tobacco plant and then use it in nicotine patches and things like that. But it would be uneconomical to try to derive nicotine from that many eggplants. It would take thousands and thousands of eggplants to get the amount of nicotine. To get 3 milligrams of nicotine out of an eggplant, you'd have to have a truckload,
So this is something I've been talking about since the 90s. It's one of those deals. I was going through one of those porno magazines like Playboy,
Sounds about right.
Nice.
And they had like the political cartoons. I don't know if you guys, don't act like you guys ain't seen a Playboy.
I've
Remember the
never.
political cartoons or the little,
What is this Playboy that you're talking about?
it's all digital now.
Oh, that Playboy, yes. Okay, since it's digital, now I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
I
about.
just read it for the articles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody that used to say that, like, I got a Playboy, man, they have great articles in there, really? I didn't even know there was articles.
Anyways, it's one of these simple, political cartoons. There's I can't remember if it was a guy or a woman, but she's like, oh, where's my car keys? And she walks off the porch, she's like looking around, she goes to the car, she comes back, she lights a cigarette, and then she's like, oh, here they are. It's like, okay, nicotine's good for brain function, but a funnier part about this, I had a client of mine in here, and her mom and her girlfriend lived above the garage in the back, and her mom, I think her mom's girlfriend had Alzheimer's or onset dementia, and forgot that she quit smoking and actually went and bought cigarettes. And she was like, yeah, she keeps smoking cigarettes. It's kind of annoying. The whole place smells like cigarettes back there. I was like, does she seem like she's getting better? She's like, yeah, she's been getting around a lot better and kind of remembering things better. And then I told her about the nicotine thing. There's a link between nicotine and brain function and Alzheimer's and dementia, stuff like that. So I just found it pretty hilarious that I actually know somebody's actually witnessed it. But the fact that you forgot you quit smoking,
Right.
and just decided to go buy a pack, and then all of a sudden you're doing a lot better.
Where's my smokes?
Yeah, I don't know how much of a link that there is between, nicotine and then, because I think that he was saying it was Parkinson's disease,
Yeah.
Huntington's disease, nicotine. He was,
Anything with there was something he had underneath it.
what do you mean?
I can't remember the word he was using, but if you have, it's these diseases we claim we have that all end the same way, the same kind of word at the end. You had,
Sons.
yeah, something along the lines of
Yeah.
that. I remember hearing something about it. I don't remember what it was though exactly.
I would say what leads to these diseases in the first place, because they're fairly new. Like I think that there wasn't nearly the amount of Alzheimer's as there used to be. So there's probably a better link between what's causing these diseases than nicotine helping with these diseases. Does that make sense? That there's more. It'd be easier to figure out why people are getting these diseases at a much higher rate than it would be to find a cure or something to solve these. Would be maybe that now that they've gotten put into a nursing home, they're not able to eat the same food as they were, but they're still smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? I think that the cause would be easier to find than the prevention or the kind of the Band-Aid that will help. I'm not saying nicotine isn't because people are linking now nicotine to neuropics, to it's a neurological disease, and so nicotine might help some synapses in the brain, but I think it would be way easier to focus on what's causing the problem, whether it's I
Well,
don't know,
smoke going
food.
into your lungs is never going to be a good idea, even if it's nicotine and good for you.
I don't think so, and especially with
Tobacco in your
cigarettes.
lip, I think it had the fiberglass and shit in there they were talking about. It's the additives. If you can find pure forms of nicotine, you're a lot better off, I'm guessing.
And then not smoking 2 packs a day.
Right. Moderation again, goes right back to it.
In moderation, that's probably, it is. I mean, if you just like, well, I really like orange juice, it's got vitamin C in it, and you use that as your reasoning for drinking orange juice because it's high in vitamin C. Well, like, I think a bell pepper's got more vitamin C in it than an orange.
Well, yeah, jalapenos, peppers generally do.
But you're not drinking pepper juice, juicing peppers and drinking those for vitamin C
God, that
because it
sounds
tastes like crap. But
Well, what do you think
Orange
salsa is?
well,
Yeah,
it's-
but I'm not drinking salsa.
You just eat it on a chip.
Yeah, I'm eating it.
yeah, that's
Juice some peppers, boys.
the problem with fruit juices, in my opinion, is there's sugar. It's a sugar drink. And I'll tell you, since I did this carnivore diet, the hardest thing in the world is only drinking water. The tea, I'm having coffee, but it's not the same. After work, I've drank water all day. When I get home and sit down for supper, man, I sure would like to have a glass of apple juice or I sure would like a Dr. Pepper, or I would like something, but there's nothing available that doesn't have some kind of either sugar or artificial sweetener that mimics sugar or mimics the things that sugar does for your brain. So that's been very difficult, is only drinking water. And I have some milk also once in a while, and I don't know that that's probably a healthy thing to do.
Well, if you're only gonna be drinking water anywhere, it might as well be in Emporia. We got the best water around here.
Yeah.
Figure I'd throw that out there.
Best tasting. I don't know that it's the best water.
Yeah, there's a lot of categories in the water category I did not know.
Yeah, so there's a lot. But even still, I kind of think this, and this is just all the stuff that we talk about here on Folks, just so you know, is just us talking. We're not giving medical advice. We're not saying that you should do anything. Obviously, we don't know because we're sitting here discussing it. We're just talking about it and having a good time. Don't take anything we say and be like, well, okay. They said this on the
I'm gonna do
podcast.
that.
I'm doing this. I would not
smoke
say.
2 packs of cigarettes
Yeah.
a day while chewing.
Cocaine's all right, moderation.
None
I don't
of
have a
us-
problem. I can quit anytime I want. I just like the smell of it.
None of us have a great history of, great decision making. So I wouldn't go that far as to say, oh yeah, these guys know what they're talking about.
Oh, God.
We don't. At least I don't. I guess I could speak for all of us and say that we all have a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of area that we're probably better at than other people, but probably not even that. So nothing on the pyramids, huh?
Well, no, we haven't learned anything more.
Segue back to the pyramids.
Well, it is interesting because if the pyramids, there's no way that they're just a few thousand years old, I don't think. I mean, if you think about what would happen, let's just, again, because we're in the United States, use the United States as an example. We wipe humans off the face of the earth. And we've got, the cities, if you've never been to a big city like Chicago or New York or these places, it is overwhelming how giant these cities are, and the buildings are so tall. Well, if you think in what would happen in just 10,000 years, let's just say a couple decades, a century, just a century.
100 years?
Well, the
We go
first
there?
thing in a century that would happen was once these buildings lost their grounding, you got grounding rods on every building, every house in Emporia. Once that copper erodes away and now the buildings aren't grounded, they're going to be subject to lightning strikes. And so they're being destroyed pretty rapidly by weather at this point. The grounding, what's keeping these buildings, and major bridges, these major bridges, they'll have construction crews that work year round. They start at one end of the bridge and start doing repairs, and then they get done, and then they're starting back at the beginning again. It's a never-ending cycle of repair and maintenance on these bridges, pouring new concrete, new I-beams, new, whatever, new concrete, however you want to put it. It's constantly being maintained, and that's in my lifetime. They do this, they've been doing it since I was born and since the bridges were built. That stops. 10 years of bridges no longer travel. You're not going to travel on it in 10 years. 50 years, it's falling down. 100 years, a bridge is done, So the buildings are the same way. I don't know where I was going with this, but the deterioration, the pyramids, deterioration would happen, but I guess when you're just stone, it's only stone, it would last a hell of a lot longer, but we don't build buildings like that. Look at the buildings that we build. It's iron and cement that's poured. There's no there's no 1-ton structural stones. Like you look around here in Emporia, these buildings were built in the 1800s. They're using small stones. They're not using giant structural stones at the base and then building them up. They just use the same material from the bottom to the top. Emporia, 100 years from now, would be rubble, foundations.
You've seen those like abandoned cities, or let's just say an abandoned house. We've all seen that, what happens within a few years. Vines start growing up around it.
The life goes out of them.
Yeah.
The doors aren't, you get your climate, when people come in and out of a house. Everybody's houses, throughout the changes, this door's sticking now, but then there's a time of the year where that door works like a well-oiled machine because the season's changing.
Yeah.
But you also have people opening and closing those doors. If you don't open that door for 5 years, you're not getting it open.
It may never open.
It may never open again. The foundation's settled enough now that you haven't worn that wood down or whatever, it's not going to open. and eventually, I mean, they crumble. Houses just crumble. And that's wood and some stone, and so they would crumble faster. But a building would be gone. 100 years, I would say it would be completely unrecognizable. 1,000 years, it would be back to the earth. Back to the earth it goes. So the pyramids, how old are they? How old? I mean, about two?
Old to count.
Too old to count. Okay.
I don't know.
That sounds
Two
about
is something
right.
in there.
Too old to count.
It is. It's interesting to me, and I know I talk about it a lot. I'll bring it up all the time, just because there's a lot of information out there, but none of it can be measured. You can't really measure. They can't carbon date stone, but they can carbon date biological matter that they find around the area. Well, if you say the dynastic Egyptians moved in, the pyramids were already created, then we're carbon dating only as far as the biological matter that was
People living
found
there.
in the area. And if it's just biological matter deteriorates at a much faster rate than stone. So there's no way to actually tell how old anything is besides with carbon dating, which we don't know. How do you measure carbon dating and measure if you're accurate? What do you go against?
That's just it.
And that's what I think. A lot of things I think we got onto this talking about whether what's healthy for you and what's not. Well, if you go back into people use the Native Americans a lot. How long did they live? Probably not very long, because they didn't have any kind of modern medicine. They didn't have shelter. So they may have been eating healthy, but they were still only living to 30, 40 years old.
It's kind of like, so I was wondering, people didn't live as long. Absolutely right. When you have to go out and hunt bear to feed your family, there's a chance you're probably going to get attacked, fucked up by a bear or a deer, or something's going to get you.
Yeah, wolf.
Yeah, definitely so. But, I forgot where I was going with that.
Have you guys seen they brought back the dire wolf? It's been everywhere. Everybody's an expert on it now. We hadn't seen a dire wolf in 30,000 years, and now all of a sudden they genetically modify a gray wolf, and now everybody's a fucking expert on wolves all of a sudden. In 2 days, I've seen so many articles and even people that I know on Facebook writing their own, little write-ups about these dire wolves. Like, what the fuck? How do you know all this? That's another thing I'm saying, like, about the carnivore diet. And you see something on the internet. This is for you guys for the viewers. If somebody sounds smart and can put together a sentence better than you can, that doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about. Because there's some very intellectual people that can write some very compelling articles with zero factual information. It's like listening to a guy from Britain talk. You're like, holy shit, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's so eloquent. That's just how they talk over there. They got terrible teeth, but great vocabularies, When I hear a guy that's from London speaking, I'm like, man, the education system must be great over there. I think they just have a better vocabulary, and they, the accent. But don't listen. I'd say 95% of the bullshit you see on the internet, especially on social media, is just bullshit. It's either anecdotal evidence from people's personal experiences, or they've taken somebody else's experience and made it their own. I mean, how do you guys see that?
I think it's with anything, though. I mean, like, you're doing a carnivore diet, but think of how many other diets there are where this diet says the carnivore diet's shit.
Yes.
Carnivore diet says this diet's shit,
Yes.
You're
You're
and I
exactly
think that's
right.
with anything. Is if maybe someone was like, ugh, I don't have to eat that much meat. That diet's shit. But hey, you know what? If you do this is a good diet. And I think it's with anything. Look at vehicles, Ford, Chevy. I think
personal experience.
It
I'm
is.
a Ford man.
Yes, it is. You grew up and your dad only drove Ford, so by God, I'm only driving Ford because Dad said Chevy shit, or vice versa. And so I do. I think you can apply it to everything. That someone's an expert on something, and if you like what they had to say, then by God, I'm now a Ford man, or I'm now on this diet, or I'm now
A Chiefs fan.
a Chief. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
It kind of goes everywhere. We're
It-
very
it's
easily
just-
manipulated as
we
a
are.
kid to
You,
being
but I
molded.
think it's like you said, someone was able to put it in a way that resonated with you, and so now you're like,
Right.
yes, that's what I'm gonna do. And so it is. It's
And we'll hold on
crazy.
to those beliefs till the end.
And do we do any research on it? No, I did the
Ketogenic.
keto diet. Did I do any research? No. My mom, my brother, and my sister-in-law did it. They lost a ton of weight. They were functioning much better. So what did I do? I grasped onto it and was like, hey, if it works for them, that's the best diet that there is the keto diet. I didn't research it.
Right.
I didn't go say, hey, what makes this work? How do I make sure I'm in ketosis? No, this is what they did. So I followed it to a T and I saw results. So guess what I told everybody? Man, you want to lose weight, keto diet's the best way to go.
Then we prophesize.
If they
about
asked
how
me
well
anything
works.
about it, I'd be like, I don't know, but it's really good. You know?
See, a lot of those diets are a good stepping stone to get yourself in the right direction, but you really,
And I
I don't
agree.
even like calling them diets. It's like, that makes it sound like you have something to do or it's like a thing, but it's kind of one of those deals where you're gonna have to change your lifestyle a little bit.
Absolutely, and I
Sure.
think that, it's just like now I'm doing portion control,
Yeah.
and that's where I've started with. I'm down 8 pounds already from when I've started
Awesome,
doing
dude.
portion control.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I think that was my number one is I can do any diet, but if I'm gonna eat 3 times the amount the diet says, is it a diet or am I?
Right.
And so I had to get that mentality that no, I'm full. I'm eating so fast that I won't allow myself to feel full.
Yep.
So I've slowed down how I eat because I'd always notice I'm done eating and I look around and everyone's still eating. It's like, good God, well, I would be like, well, come on, Pokey.
Well, I
Like,
better get another,
well,
I better get another plate.
and that's it. I would get another helping while they're eating, and then I'd start feeling full
Yeah.
through that helping. Well, no, it's the first helping, finally hitting bottom. Well, then guess what? Now I feel gorged. I'm miserable.
Bedtime.
Well, in bed,
Yeah.
night night.
Have you tried drinking like a pretty good sized glass of water?
I have
Like before you go in to
I
eat?
hadn't thought about that.
Because that
no.
water will kind of trick you to think you're full and you maybe
Full.
won't eat as much.
When I had heard somewhere, you would probably know that a lot of times when you're hungry, it's because you're dehydrated, and so to drink water.
I could see that being.
But I don't know if that's true. I'd heard that before.
I think a lot of people are dehydrated a little
But
bit.
I think
Maybe not
that is a
dehydrated,
good.
but mineral deficient.
Yeah, okay.
So you're drinking water to try to get the minerals that are in the water. I think that you probably should. I think that we're mineral deficient and vitamin deficient because of the amount of food that doesn't.
Yeah.
We've talked about what the health many times, but I think that not getting enough minerals and not getting enough vitamins, you're wanting these things. Plus, if you're eating sugar a lot, sugar is trying to call you in, and you're looking for foods because most food has some sort of like not most foods, but the foods that we eat have a lot of sugar.
Do you go around telling everybody that you're like on the carnivore diet? Like vegans go around telling everybody how vegan they are?
No, I try to keep it to a dull roar on that.
That's where I tell that woman that I got in a fight with one here years ago, and she was trying to tell me found an animal. I'm not going to mention what it was, but it was very fucked up looking, and looked like it'd been abused. And to the point where I took it into the vet to try getting some help. And she was trying to tell me she's a better pet owner than I am since she's a vegetarian. And I kind of thought about it for a few seconds, me being kind of a smart ass.
Right.
I was like, does that make me a better gardener since I don't eat vegetables? It just really hit me kind of weird, but
Do you think that we do these types of behaviors that we've just kind of discussed? Like you grasp on because of your family was doing it, worked for them, because we're inherently tribal people. We're in a tribe, and what's working for the tribe works for everyone. If you're doing good, the tribe does good. So we repeat these things that we hear because not only is it working for us currently, we want the rest of our tribe to be. I want you to be on the carnivore route because look at me, look at these fucking guns, baby.
Right.
You want these? You eat only meat.
Right.
Or you tell me, man, if you want to have real good cognitive function, you get on the keto diet, man. And so because it's helping us, we want the tribe to also do good. With the internet, our tribe's so giant. Our tribe, I mean, I don't think that we should be like even in the city the size of Emporia, how many, know lots of people know you've lived here for a long time,
Right.
but how many people, you got a small circle
Mhm.
that you stick to. Same with myself. And I think that we want to see those people do good. And then that's where you get people talking about one another. Somebody leaves the room and you're like, oh, it's because you're not handling it the right way, but that's how a tribe would have handled it without the internet, without the use of telephones. They're all gathered. And then they're like, whenever somebody gets up and leaves, they're like, Pocahontas over here, she's sleeping around with the rest of the villagers. Nobody's gonna know who her baby's father is. Her
She likes
husband's
white men.
yeah, she
Nick, you've been on a few diets over the years. I've noticed like you kind of fluctuate sometimes. What works for you since you're Neanderthal and all?
Well, I like the idea that everybody's like everybody's different, so whatever works for them, like every single person's an experiment of their own.
Right.
And I think the thing that worked best for me is the intermittent fasting. But I think the goal is just reducing how much you eat.
Yeah.
I
It goes back to the portion control thing.
Yeah, because I did the all meat diet. I did the slow carb diet. And all of those worked. It was just the idea was just to slow down. Well, limit how much you ate.
and not eating as many processed foods.
Yeah.
Because all these diets have a common theme. You're eating whole foods. You can't eat a box of macaroni and cheese because it's got carbs. You can't eat a box of macaroni and cheese because it's not all meat. They all have a common theme, and that's you eliminate the sugar and the processed foods and the ultra processed foods and the pop. You're not trying to do the keto diet and drink Pepsi. It's not part of the diet. Pepsi's
Right.
not ever in a vegetarian diet.
Not drinking a 12-pack of beer a night. Go with your keto diet.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to limit alcohol and things like that, which I think is also you have a good point there.
Just
It's like,
down in your 30-pack, like, God, this guy drinks like 3 Red Bulls a day.
yeah,
What the fuck's his problem? That ain't good for you.
I also think that our economy makes it hard to be healthy because the things that are really, really bad for you, super cheap.
Super easy to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
if you go on a carnivore diet, you're buying just meat, right? And meat is expensive.
A carnivore diet, you can eat nuts and berries too, right on there? Is it just...
I don't think so. I mean, this is the thing. Everybody has their own carnivore diet
Oh, I'm
too.
not trying to fight you, bud.
You better watch your back. I'm on nothing but meat. I'm like a fucking bear.
Get some carbs in you,
The
bud.
strength of a bear now.
Big shoots. Look like you could use a tater.
Some people
Small
will
potatoes.
eat
Small
blueberries.
potatoes.
But I don't think nuts are ever in there. But blueberries and some berries and things like that. Because people will,
Oh my God.
they'll say, well, bears eat berries and they're carnivores. But I don't think bears are omnivores. I think they'll eat whatever's kind of there. So
Maybe they have a sweet tooth. I think they really...
everything would have a sweet tooth if you gave it sugar.
Right.
I've never seen a dog turn away a spoonful of sugar. Not that I've ever given one.
Winnie the Pooh was constantly after honey.
They'll eat cocaine.
Cocaine Bear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Great documentary.
You gotta be
Also a
careful.
movie.
They made a movie off that documentary.
Yeah, way different.
That's
I like
wild.
Hollywood's twist on shit movies, but
That was funny that we kind of talked last week about how Hollywood has a budget in their defense system for basically for Hollywood. They have the American government has a little bit of money they set aside to pipe into the movies to make the narrative change.
Yeah.
And I think that's with everything, food and everything else too. They want to, it's about controlling. But who's pulling these strings? I always wondered, like, when you're talking about all these things that the elite and the government's doing, well, their kids and grandkids are also here, and they have to eat this stuff too.
I think
They
that's
don't
where
know.
the
It's not
line
like,
for
cause you see,
pockets
look at Newt Gingrich. He's a big old fat, You know, he's got a big old gut. A lot of these politicians, they're unhealthy too. So obviously they're not in on it, or they haven't been privy to the information.
Of Hollywood, has anybody kept up this week? I guess the movie Minecraft came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's been all these things going on at theaters being destroyed. People are getting these big old fights, throwing food,
Really?
stuff
Over
everywhere.
Minecraft?
Yeah, I've never played the game, so I didn't know.
I've never
No.
played the game either.
I know that they were getting like the crowd was getting interactive with the movie, and the movie theaters were encouraging it, kind of like the
Rocky.
Rocky Horror. They were
Well, there's
yelling
people throwing
stuff that they knew was
drinks,
coming. Really?
pops.
For what reason?
That's why I'm fucking asking you, Garrett.
I've never seen the game. I didn't even know there was a movie until just
I'm not
now.
gonna admit that I played the game, so I don't know what you guys are talking
Nate,
about.
please.
I played it and tried beating the dog at the beginning because I thought it was an enemy.
Yeah, I remember you
And then
talking about that.
come to find out it's supposed to be your friend, and I was like, "This is." a
Well,
dumb
that
game.
makes
I'm
sense
not
why
playing
people
it."
are fighting in theaters.
Beating dogs, yeah.
Miss Bell, I asked her about it. She's like, well, I don't know. But she was like, it seemed like maybe Jack Black plays in this.
Yep.
Mhm.
Is this like, is it 8-bit
Yeah, the
movie?
game is.
No, but what's the movie? Or is it, I don't know nothing about it. I ain't seen no previews or
Google
anything.
it. Find out why people are fighting in the theater over a video, well, not a video game, but a video game that's been turned into a movie, or a documentary that's been turned into a video game.
So I didn't know if, I
Is it-
still don't know much about it, but was it one of those deals where Jack Black's voicing something, or is this like,
No,
is it,
he's in it.
so it's a live action movie
Yeah.
of Minecraft?
Yeah, and then the Aquaman guy,
Jason Momoa,
yeah, he's in it too.
he's hot.
He's
That
in a
guy's
TV
shooting from
show
steel.
called Sea. SEE.
Aquaman.
Yeah, I just seen it the other day. I guess there's like 8 seasons, but it's kind of like that medieval kind of stuff. Everybody was blind. I don't know.
Says people are engaging in disruptive behavior, including yelling, throwing popcorn, and potentially even vandalizing during screenings of a Minecraft movie due to a viral TikTok trend centered around the chicken jockey scene.
You guys have TikTok?
I do. Now, do I use TikTok?
Yeah, I don't look at it a lot.
I don't know much about it. I have the app, so
I had an account back when it first came out because I thought I was behind on Instagram and stuff, and I thought I better get on this TikTok. And then I don't have a Twitter either. I got I have an account with TikTok, but I don't use it.
you have Snapchat?
I have Snapchat. What do you want my Snap?
No.
We could-
Do I have you on Snapchat?
Yeah. You just never post anything. We could sext.
Is Snapchat that where you text something and it disappears?
Yeah, for a little bit.
That's
I don't
fucking
think it does.
stupid.
I don't think
Well,
anything.
Unless
ever
you do
disappears.
something criminal and then they can bring it back.
Right.
Yeah, it disappears for the person you sent it to.
But why?
For sexting. So you can send nudies and then they
And then
disappear.
it goes away. You can't bring it back. You can save it, but then the
The
person
person knows what's going
that
on.
you saved it.
What if I
Or if you
screenshot
take
it?
a screenshot, it tells the person that you took a screenshot.
Yeah, it's funny. Jesse said something because I was trying to turn it up one day. I thought it had sound. I accidentally screenshot it. He's like, "You're an ass." I'm like, "Fuck, dude! I'm just trying to turn the volume." Of course, it was nothing ridiculous. But yeah, he called me out on that. And I got kind
Yeah,
of
it'll
confused.
tell you John Armstrong took a screenshot of your. So you know,
So it's a snitch.
doing dick pics,
Snitch out.
John.
Yep, it's a
Somebody
it's
can
a snitch out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody, if I did it, nobody would, because they'd be like,
Zoom
"Yeah,
in.
the Zoom function doesn't
Aw.
work on this.
It's almost like a dick, but smaller.
What's up, little feller?
That's so cute. This is the worst thing you want to hear when you send a dick pic
Right.
to a girl or a guy.
Aw.
Either way, like, oh, that's cute. Like, wait a minute. Should it be gnarly or that's radical? What would you call a nice dick? A nice dick, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's rad, dude.
That's rad. Totally radical, dude.
Tubular.
Tubular. Oh, it really would be tubular.
Right.
Yeah, I see what you did there. So, anybody with Twitter? You guys have Twitter? Your Twitter? You guys did?
I have a Twitter, but I don't post anything on it or do anything
That's
with
me.
it.
Well,
or X. It's called X now, but I've never had it. I've never had the app. Tried to download
tried
it.
doing it for photography. I put a couple of pictures on there, and all I would get is all the bots like, "Hey, baby, are you looking for a good time?"
Hell yeah.
Hey,
man.
you know
Maybe
what I
I
mean,
ought to
though?
get it. Maybe I
But
ought to get
it's
it,
all
yeah.
the bots. It's like all the 4 billion women with OnlyFans accounts are like, "Hey, nice picture. Here's my link for my."
How many
It's
people
like,
here have
okay,
OnlyFans page?
Never mind, dude. If I could do feet pics or someone wanted to look at this grotesque body, me and Tabby's paying off the house.
I have tried to look at one OnlyFans. Somebody has an account. It's Craig Jones. He's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, and he has a free OnlyFans. And I was just gonna. It's not. I don't. Well, it might be him showing off nude or whatever, but I don't think everybody's like that. But since his was free, I was at least gonna check it out. But then I started to go, and you have to give him your email and do all this shit. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So I've never even. But dude, there are ladies and gentlemen
Mhm.
out there that will spend an abnormal amount of time and money on these, which I really have a hard time, because some of the chicks and some of the dudes they're not nude, and they're signing up. They call it exclusive content. It's like you can either see that on their Instagram, but like porn's free. It's everywhere.
Right.
Like, so you're spending money to see this specific man or this
man or
specific
girl.
woman that's odd to me, but I also am married and I'm older.
Practically
Yeah.
stalking at that point.
And it,
Well, I
Paying
mean,
for
it is,
stalking,
it
yeah.
is, yeah, and they're encouraging it. Like,
Yeah.
hey, stalk me for, and then
Yeah.
I'll,
You want to stalk me, but it's going to cost you.
right.
Link in my bio, and it's like the splash sign by it. So you're like, oh, I get what's going on here.
well, it originally started out just so.
Hold on, I gotta take my Alzheimer's medicine. Keep going.
It originally started out just as
Celery
coaches and stuff like that, where you like self-help stuff, and then
OnlyFans did?
yeah,
Really?
that's what I read,
Huh.
and you
Please expand. I'm interested now.
you could follow a person, and it would be just like them doing speeches or
You know, like a Substack?
yeah, and
No
then you
shit.
would be supporting these people to continue what they're saying, but
Like
then,
life coaches?
yeah, and life coaches show you how to do stuff, and not sexual stuff, but and there's
It's like having another dad.
yeah,
But you have to pay
Change
for
the
it.
oil.
you have to pay for
It
it.
is a subscription based.
Yeah.
So essentially, and
Gotta
then
pay for it,
somebody's got the idea of,
Yeah, and then
And
they
everybody's
paid
like-
for that, and then from
And
Yeah.
the guy that owns OnlyFans was like, hey, that's a lot of money coming in.
yeah, and so then they just continued to allow it to get worse and worse.
So you're telling me it started out as like a mental health crisis
What?
situation?
I don't.
Like you're depressed, you get on here, you're like, oh, I get my life figured out. This guy's like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm gonna kill myself. And the woman was like, wait. And like, showed
Well,
a
I don't
boob.
know about that.
and he's like, never mind,
She's
I
like,
forgot
I'll tell
about
you what, I'll show you
masturbation.
the other one if you come back here next week just to know you're still alive.
He's like, what's this feeling? Is this happiness? I don't even know.
Don't know.
And then it turned into
I won't know
this.
till I see the other boob.
You feeling down? Go
So
pay
how
to
long
see some hot
ago?
chicks.
Because OnlyFans has been around for,
10 years?
has it been 10, yeah, maybe,
Yes,
maybe 10
close
years.
to.
So how long, yeah, check that out. Give that a goog and see if Nate is just lying to the entire world
The
here.
entire
or-
world.
or it is. But that would be cool. I had no idea if that was how it started. I wondered how in the hell.
It was founded in November 2016 by British entrepreneur Timothy Stokely.
So 9 years?
So how did it? Type in there. How did it? What did OnlyFans start out as? Was it always like an adult content site?
It said it was a membership-based social media service where users can pay for content, photos, videos, and live streams created by other users. While it has always been popular with sex workers, it gained significant mainstream attention and popularity during the pandemic. So
Yeah, because
these
sure.
women and men found that, hey, I can't work, I can't sew, I'm gonna show my ding dong or show my hoo ha.
Well, not only
make
that,
money.
I saw a chick come the other day. She said the most money that she ever made. It was on Instagram on Reels. She's like, she does a talk show about sex. She's a cute little gal. She always wears low cut clothes and sits with her legs open or whatever. But she was saying, she said the biggest money that she ever got on her OnlyFans was when the stimulus checks dropped.
Oh,
Because everybody's got money, they're at home, and they're just sitting there beating the fur off their dicks, you know, on the government's dime. So that was pretty interesting, and I thought, man, I wonder how many people was like blew their stimulus check on all those chicks that they've been wanting to see naked. And wouldn't it be shitty, like you try to do it and they not even get naked?
Some bigger name stars have done it, where they'll do a one-time nude drop, and they've made millions.
That bad
in
baby,
hours. Yeah.
she turned 18, had an OnlyFans, and they said within 24 hours she'd already made $1 million on OnlyFans.
Yep. In one
That
day.
Catch Me Outside chick, you know who I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
Catch Me Outside, how about
Dr.
that?
Phil.
I'm like,
She made Dr. Phil famous.
she made Dr. Phil famous. That is fucking nuts. And she's
I was
like,
told she wouldn't amount to shit, and then turn around now she's a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
like I think she's made like $80 million. I could be wrong about this, people. So again, but 80 million is
Apparently
what she's
she's
claiming.
doing rap music now.
She's been doing it. She had like those Gucci flip flop song was like platinum.
And then she was kind of like in a fight
With
something I
another
heard
rapper?
with Travis Barker's daughter.
Oh, is that who it is?
Yeah,
She's another
he's
rapper.
married to a Kardashian. Does that sound right?
No, was he?
Travis
I
is.
think Travis is.
Who knows? Those Kardashians have
They
been
just
married to
train 'em in
everybody.
and out.
Yeah.
They got an assembly line of stars, like you.
You're the one.
Imagine that you're born into an already wealthy family, and it just so happens that whatever your mom and dad just make, like hot ass daughters, and they have accumulated. They're billionaires, like
Oh, yeah.
all of them. Makeup lines. I think Kim Kardashian's like an attorney now or something. She's like went to law school. Just
Who?
Kim Kardashian, like Kanye's woman.
She was smart enough to do that?
I don't think that just because she was hot as fuck that she makes her an idiot, John. You
Yeah,
sexist
I bet they
fucking
just
pig.
paid money and said, I want my law degree. Here you go. I passed the test.
Of course you would say
She
that because you
donated-
could never be that
Donated
hot.
some millions to a law school, and they're like, here you go.
John, if you had big tits, you wouldn't be thinking of her that way. I can tell you that right now.
Body shaming. Oh, speaking of weird things
Body
though,
shaming.
but it is funny, like sitting around thinking how things started out. Because I was reading a thing about eBay here a while back, and you guys know how eBay got started?
Lay it on us, man.
Beanie Babies.
Really?
That's
It
how
was
the
like
whole
a-
thing. Remember when McDonald's had the Beanie Baby
Yeah,
trades,
yeah.
and people were
were
getting
losing
doubles,
their mind over
and it
it.
turned into this big trade around. Like, oh, I have 2 of these. I'll trade you for the giraffe or the bunny.
And then they
or
turned it into
the-
like an auction site, or it was an auction site to
It
start.
was an auction site for Beanie Babies. Like, oh, I didn't get this one at our McDonald's. Never had them around here. I'll pay you this much for them, and it just kind of evolved to.
And
what
people
it
are
is
like,
now.
no, I'll pay you this much. And
Yeah.
they're like, come on around, can I get it? No shit.
Yeah.
That is crazy that you know, that's what's so awesome about the United States is you could start out just an average Joe like us, and you find this niche that people get popularized, and then the next thing you know, you're driving around in a Lamborghini flashing people.
Look at Napster. He was man of the year. Learned how to send files of music, and all of a sudden we had access to all this fucking free music. Of course, it took all day to download one song in Fairview,
Right.
fucking Kansas.
Yeah,
Remember
that
how
was-
Mom's like, get off the computer. I got to make a phone call.
Phone would ring and it'd screw you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of too that Napster started the decline of the internet started it, but then Napster really took over and started the decline of like how the music industry makes money,
Yeah.
because they made money off of.
And he wasn't doing anything illegal at the time. It was just like there was no rules, he was just sharing files. And then everybody started sharing to the same thing.
Well,
Then
it
you
used
just got all
to be
this collective
sales of
music.
CDs and shit.
Columbia
like that.
House.
Yeah.
Remember that shit?
Yeah.
You get 10
Yeah.
CDs for like a penny, and then nobody ever paid for them.
And now look at us, we're all fighting over records again. But
Now it's views.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
on YouTube.
they'll
or
release it on
Spotify.
YouTube, even TikTok now. All your big name musicians are
Sure.
going to TikTok and like, here's our new release. And as long as it gets 1 million likes,
There was
hell,
that
they're
woman,
getting, you know,
like probably 7-8 years ago, she'd been retired and shit for years, and then one of her songs pop up on TikTok that wasn't popular back then but was popular now, and all of a sudden she made like millions
Yeah.
of dollars off of that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Can you imagine being retired for like 20 years, 30 years? And
well, like that song that was in, oh Stranger Things. You know, that lady made that song, like you said, 20 years ago. And
That may
she's
have
one
been the
of them
song that I'm talking
that
about.
TikTok, it became a big theme behind.
Yeah, that
TikTok
might be the one.
videos. And she's making probably more money now than what she did when she did the song 20, 30 years ago.
But
Yeah,
those are
that's
like
nuts.
one in a million situations. I mean, I say 1 in a million, it seems like it would be less than that, but there's billions of people on the earth, and we see it's highlighted the people that make it successful off of TikTok and stuff. It seems like everybody's doing it, but really it's a small portion that
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
like Charlie
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
Dixie D'Amelio, they just started they were just dancing, and they happened to be cute girls, and it just, I mean, they took off, and now they're, I don't know what they do now, but you know, it's opened so many doors and avenues for those two, and others, you know.
To me, it's no different than acting. TikTok is like acting. You know, everyone's trying to be TikTok famous, but it takes, you know, the
That's
right
what we're
thing,
doing.
just like acting. Everyone's out there trying to be acting right.
We're doing with this
You
podcast.
could have one
Click the
episode
like,
that goes like
Hit
10
the like,
million.
share, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Smash that like button.
You want to see more content like this?
Yeah.
Like,
You got it.
Tell your friends.
Now they have even VIP. If you want to be in our VIP program, you got to pay a
Yep.
small subscription, and then we'll give you a shout out on the show. You know.
the thing
things
is,
like
though, I
that.
think that's good marketing, though. I think you don't, that saying don't get anything for free. I think these people have marketed that to a T, though.
Yeah.
Is they get that, well, what am I missing? It's only $5. What am I missing for
Sure.
$5? I want to be, and then I want the shout out. You know, it's like
Yeah.
Twitch. When I make a comment on certain Twitch deals, I love it when they go, well, hey, Krusty Glitter, thanks for the, hey,
What's
blah,
that
blah,
Twitch?
blah.
Krusty Glitter.
Yeah, Krusty
But,
Glitter.
yeah, that's-
Shout out Krusty Glitter on Twitch if you
But
guys.
you know, it's a video gaming.
Oh, okay, it's a gaming thing.
And so there's
It's an
ones I don't say stuff often, but I'll be like, hey, that was badass, you beat the boss. Well, Krusty, I appreciate you watching, you know, haven't seen you in a while.
It's a little dopamine release.
And it
or something
is.
like
That's
that.
what I was getting ready to say, is as embarrassing as it sounds, it's like, hey, she's got, you know, 50,000 followers on here, and she said my name.
I'm
And
guilty
so-
of it with my Facebook post. I'll look to see who liked it and shit.
Yes.
I'll go back and look and when I find myself, I feel like an idiot sometimes. I'm like, why do I give a fuck what people think? And the comments people make. And you know, the more popular you are, the more often you get the bad apples that
Oh,
want to come in there
absolutely.
and hijack your post with you know, say, well, I've been really doing great with these exercises. Well, I've started doing that 10 years ago. I can do 100 push-ups, but they have no way of proving that they can actually do 100. They couldn't post a video of it. They're just like trying to derail your post. So the more popular you get, and I know for a fact, I have people that are on there. They just say nonsense on my post. It's like it's a jealousy thing. Like, how could this guy with the face tattoos have anybody listen to what he says?
Because you have face tattoos.
I don't know if it's because I have face tattoos. That's just what I think. That's people see me and my outward appearance and say, "How could this guy do that?" Well, you could do it too. Just
You
put
know,
a lot of
Some
time and
people
effort into
just
it.
don't like to see other people succeed.
I've seen
Sometimes it's
so.
literally that simple. People are listening to him. Well, I got to shit on that because no one would listen to me. You know, some
And they
people
probably
just don't
would.
like seeing success.
So-
It makes them uncomfortable because they start reflecting. Well, could I get people to listen to me if I talked about this? Probably not. And some people are just angry individuals. I mean, it's oversimplifying it, but it's a oversimplified answer, or to the question is some people just cannot stand other people succeeding. Period.
That's the
And I
high
don't know
school
why that
mentality
it
to
is,
me.
and I don't know why that is, but it is. Some people just can't live with it. That, well, who do they think they are to be
Right.
able to?
Old Mr. High on his high horse kind of thing. But it's
Like-
kind of weird that you said, because I'm not really the guy that's looking for views or shit. I'm just trying to promote my business a lot of the times. And if I get 20 likes on a tattoo, I'm like, hell yeah, that's pretty good. And I got quite a following on there. 20 likes, yeah. But
Quite
what,
the following.
what fucking irritates
Congratulations
me
on all your
It's
success.
amazing.
is I'll show a picture of
I
your
get 20
tattoo,
likes.
like the Edward Scissorhands. Phenomenal tattoo, got hours into it.
Check it out.
And I'll get like 20 likes on it. And I was like, all right, that's not bad. What pisses me the fuck off though, I'll do an infinity sign or an anchor that says refusing to sink and have like 300 likes on it. I'm like, motherfucker, how in the hell did I get 300 likes on this stupid anchor?
But
that doesn't want to sing.
as a businessman, that's where you should be like, I don't like tattooing these, but
Yeah.
apparently they're super popular.
Do this in
so
15 minutes.
I'm gonna run a special on
Anchors.
on anchors and
tattoos.
infinity signs where the
Yeah.
where the
It's got
birds,
one fucking job to sing.
where the birds fly off of the infinity.
Feather. Yeah. Says family in there. God.
Speaking of which, what are you doing after the show?
Shut the fuck up.
You want some likes or not?
But it's kind of funny that you said that. And I haven't really cared. April's really the one that gets emotionally involved in all this. I just kind of like kick back. But
It sounds like April's the one that gets emotionally involved.
well, I do on this one. But I do have some good news I thought was kind of cool. You know the Key brand overalls? I did not know they were from Kansas.
I didn't know that either.
Manufactured,
Yes.
produced right here in Kansas.
The only reason I know that because I did a Key overall memorial tattoo years ago. I don't know if you remember the pocket said Key on there, had like chalk and like a hat that said some name on it. Anyways, a friend of ours got that. Well, somehow this video got around to Key this week, and they reached out to April.
Really?
It's like, hey,
That's fucking cool.
I think this is badass. Somebody got a memorial tattoo, and our brand. Do you mind if we share it on our wall and tag you guys? And
That's
so
cool.
that was kind of cool.
Hell yeah, that is.
Although
That
I've
is
never
cool.
looked back and seen anything, so I don't really keep up on it. But you know, even having a car like I do, I have these. You might get 500,000 views on anytime I pull my car out, which is coming out today.
Oh, the
Nice.
Nice.
Covette 19.
Oh yeah.
Well, and that's the thing I've seen on X is it'll show the viewing, and then you look at the likes, and I've often wondered if that many people looked at it, what's so hard about clicking a like button? Because it'll say 1.2 million views, but 34,000 likes.
There's a lot of bots too.
Is that what it is? 'Cause
Yeah, I
I've
think
often
there's a
thought,
way you can buy
why
bots.
You can buy
what
likes.
is so hard about just saying, hey, that's cool, I like it? Or is it that mentality of,
There's so much
oh,
content.
everyone's liking it, I'm not gonna like it?
Well, I think too.
That might be it
I'll
too.
get to watching reels, and then I see one that was even better than the one that was over the same content or the same subject, and I like that one. And then I'm like, oh, I should have liked that other one. I'm scrolling.
So you go
Right.
back and
So-
unlike the other one?
No, I
I found a better one.
found a better one. This
Yours
guy
sucks.
Do better.
But I have often thought that because I want obviously, like, I want people to send me stories and things because my account's monetized, and that'll help. And then I'll be talking about a reel or something that I saw to someone, and then like, damn, I should have sent some stars on that. You know, I should have done that, and I just forgot. So I don't think
Right.
it's always a conscious decision for people not to like the video. It's just that we're overwhelmed with the content, and you're scrolling.
Well, and that is true. I mean, it's so much content.
I'm guilty of. I'll go up and see like a car that's badass, start scrolling. I'm like, oh shit, a rat rod behind that. Like as I'm coming up, I was like, I want to watch that one, and then I might like it, might not.
Yeah.
How many car videos? Half that time, I guess we get impatient. Like I don't have time to like this. I want to see what the next one is.
Impatient by design.
But you just want
It
to go
keeps you
ahead and like.
engaged in the-
It's not
in
going to
the-
take you but
in the
a
content.
second to do it. But you like every single post that's up there that you're like you're going to be there all day and not make it very far.
I don't think these companies necessarily key in on content that's being like Instagram, for example. They don't care that there's one viral video. They want more videos like that too, because if you saw something that what went viral, now you're looking for that type of content. So the algorithm kind of pushes you toward that. So if you're watching only car videos, then that's what's going to show up in your algorithm, because that will get more views on that specific content, which is better for the company itself. So Facebook and Instagram and all of these, YouTube, they have algorithms that you really get pushed into. So if you're looking at only one genre, then you're going to be pushed by the algorithm more and more of that. You know, like we've talked about it before on the show of, we start talking about Bud Light, and the next thing you know, you get Bud Light advertisements constantly to your phone. Like, how did they know your phone's listening?
Don't say that. I don't need that popping up on my phone.
Remember we were out in your garage that night and we were talking, and my phone said, we were talking about something, and then ended up we were talking about nurses or something, and that guy's wife shows up. All of a sudden we thought he was getting in trouble because maybe she'd heard it on his phone or something. Remember we were out in the garage? I don't remember the exact story.
I don't remember either.
But something had happened, and I said something, and my Google popped up. I better be careful because my phone hears that, and it'll pop it up there. But I said something, and it prompted the search to come up, and then this guy was like, "Oh no!" And then his wife called, or she showed up over there, or something. It was just a coincidence that time.
But it was weird.
But it was really weird, and that happens. You know, with the technology. One time, this is before when cell phones were just. This is a little bit different topic, but the cell phones were pretty new, and I had called my mom, and I said something, or she said, I don't remember the conversation, but then she hung up and put her phone down, but she'd forgot to hang up. She didn't actually hang up. And then they started talking shit on me. Her and her husband was talking smack on me. And I'm like, I'm still on the phone here. I can hear you. And then mom heard me because I had my voice raised and stuff. Like, I hear you motherfuckers talking about me. Like, I'm still on the phone. And then all of a sudden the phone goes dead. And she's like, oh shit, the phone's still on. And she hangs up. That was pretty funny. Thanks, mom. Shit talker.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's like all he's eating is meat. What the fuck is wrong with
What an idiot. I didn't know he was gay. He's shoving meat down his throat like a homosexual. I don't remember exactly how it went, what they were talking shit about. It's been a while. But that leads me to another topic that I think we can all agree on. It's, what do you call it? ESP? Like psychic ability. Remember before technology was as nearly advanced as it was, you almost knew when the phone rang who it was, or you would kind of be thinking about that person and the phone would ring. How much of that is ESP, or is just like it was that time of day that they're just about to call? But deja vu and things. I got deja vu for the first time in a long time the other day at work. We were around this meter pit. And I haven't worked for this department very long with the city, but I just in the last couple of months started working with them, and we were standing around a meter pit, and one of the guys said something, and it all just clicked. This like deja vu came back. I was like, we have all been here before, standing around this pit, the same thing. And even another guy laughed when I said I just got deja vu. He laughed, and I remember the laugh.
Yeah.
And I'd never met these guys. I just started working with the crew.
Yep.
But all of them were just crystal clear in my head that we had all done this before.
Yep.
You know, that's specific topic. John and I have talked extensively on
It makes
this.
me sick sometimes, like back thinking some of the stuff. Like I literally seen the future one time. It was only probably like 5 minutes into it, and that was after me smacked my head on the concrete. But it was just kind of one of those weird things. But yeah, I had a situation kind of happen. I was tattooing a girl, and then all of a sudden, I'm back like 20 years ago in this house doing underground ink kind of thing on a guy. And I see these two girls walking. I can smell the cigarette smoke, and I look up and I see the speakers. I can see the carpet, and all of a sudden, like, I popped back to reality, but it seemed like I was really there.
Like that fast.
And the girl that I thought I had met, you know, like 10 years ago, come to find out, it's like, were you by chance at so-and-so's house at this address about this time? She's like, yeah. Matter of fact, I do remember you being there, and I remember seeing her there. So I met her like 10 years before I actually remember meeting her. And she's like, yeah, that's right when I got out of prison for stabbing my boyfriend.
Nice.
And I was
She
like,
sounds hot.
oh, okay. But I remember just being, like, I got a nauseous feeling in my stomach. And they call that a time slip. I looked into it. It really bothered me. Because I was like, how the hell were you there doing something, and all of a sudden in a complete different area? We all have these, like, glimpses of our past. But this felt like I got sucked out of where I was at. I was tattooing a specific individual. These girls walked in. I described her clothes. I knew she was wearing flip-flops. They were smoking cigarettes. And I just remember being just dumbfounded. Then all of a sudden, it felt like I was there for oh, I'd say probably 30 to 45 seconds and then right back in the chair. And I was like, I remember you all of a sudden. And of course, she's 20 years older now. She
Right?
doesn't look nothing like she did back then.
How's that happen?
Don't know.
But you have lucid dreams as well.
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he told me that you have lucid dreams too. I do not experience that. I wake up. As soon as I realize I'm dreaming, I'm up. I wake
Really?
up. Yeah, every
Oh,
time.
wow.
Do you lucid dream at all?
Oh, yeah.
Like you control everything around you and move things around?
Make people disappear.
Yeah, that's awesome. I did that once. After we had this conversation, I'm gonna do what Nate does. I think we had this conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I feel a lot better about it. Wait a minute, Nate was sending him to space. I made
Well,
mine pop.
I started sending them in space because I felt like I was killing them, and then I realized sending them to space was killing them too.
So maybe.
Yeah, they go into no atmosphere. You're like, oh, they'll be fine up there. We'll tuck them away in a no atmosphere
Yeah.
environment. So
You're not
they're
watching them
freezing instantly.
disappear. They're just kind of out of sight, out of mind
Yeah.
at that point.
So can you talk about that a little bit, Nate? John and I have talked a lot about it, so I understand his, but he was telling me about and I don't remember exactly, but how you were able to sort of control the dream once it starts happening. I've never experienced this. Like I said, I've tried to go back to sleep and get into the same dream, and it's never worked for me. So I'm interested in how that happened. When did you start to notice that you were able to lucid dream, and how did you handle it?
Well, I don't know exactly when it started happening, but I, for most of my life, I didn't dream, and then I started to dream more and more and more, and I started getting annoyed with some things that were happening in my dream, and I realized, well, this, like, logically thinking, well, this doesn't make sense.
Were you
So-
logically thinking about this during your sleep, or
Yeah,
once you
well-
wake up,
well,
you
yeah,
dwell
well-
on it a little bit?
While I was sleeping, I started to realize that this can't be happening because this is stupid, or this can't be happening because this is well, you can't talk to elephants, and then I realized that I was dreaming, and once I got the realization that this isn't real, I started to be able to change things. It'd be like in the dream, I'd be like, well, I don't like this, so this person needs to go away, and then they would go away, and or
When you say go away, did you walk up to him and was like, hey, can you please leave? You're not welcome in my dream?
no,
Or
I
you just blur them out, like pop, they're gone. All of a sudden, not there.
in dreams. I'm a mass murderer, so I just
Okay.
like
Nice.
yeah.
Done with you.
Done with you. And then it started getting easier and easier every single time I'd be like dreaming, and then it's like this because most of my dreams felt real. It felt like I was in that day, in that reality, and everything was exactly happening. Like if someone died in my dream, I'd wake up and I'd be sad, even though I've never met this person in the world. I'd wake up and I'd be like, I'm grieving for somebody that I lost, that I've never met, and so it was intense. So then I started changing things because I didn't like that.
No shit. So when you say you change things, how?
I think it was just a combination of understanding that it wasn't real and will. Like I just will it away. Like there was this one dream where this little girl was just annoying the fuck out of me, and she just kept on asking questions, and I went to so there's a theory that alternate realities you visit when you dream, and I started to think about that too. It's like, so if I'm
affected
visiting
somebody else's real life.
yeah, if I'm visiting these places and I'm just murdering people just because they annoy me, so in that dream, when that girl was annoying me, I went to just turn her into dust, and then I was like, huh, there's a chance that this girl's real somewhere else in a different reality. And so then I put her in a bubble and sent her to space, which
So she died either way, is what you're saying.
Either if she didn't run out of oxygen in the bubble, she was definitely gonna freeze to death unless she made it into.
so it didn't make sense
What
to
a
do
jerk.
that. But yeah,
Well-
so she died slower.
Right, yeah.
Slow, painful, drawn out death.
Instead of
Much
just-
better.
So, me being a lucid dreamer, can you totally break the rules of reality? I mean, putting somebody in a bubble in space is pretty easily done today, but like, can you like move mountains or change landscapes, or can you all of a sudden just like, I want to be on the moon? Like, can you?
So in one of my dreams, I decided that I wanted to make a like a castle that was just my own. So then I teleported. So basically, yes, I changed the dream completely, went to a different place, and then I built a world for myself.
God, that's crazy.
And all this happening in seconds usually. Dreams don't last that long, but all this happens, I mean, in a matter of 8 seconds or 12 seconds. I don't know how long a dream is, but I mean, for you, your dream's lasting much longer, obviously, if you can, it takes time to manifest this stuff.
Or it just happens so quick in your brain that you can't process it. I mean, I don't know if his dreams last any longer than anybody else's.
Well,
It's just
Sometimes
fire.
dreams
feels
seem
like
like
it
they
lasts
last
forever.
an eternity,
Yeah.
and some of them are like, you wake up and you're like, whoa, that was strange. Has it, since you started doing this, and as you started doing different, especially since you realized, oh shit, I may be killing people in alternate realities, did that affect your day-to-day life while you're awake? Did you think back on that and be like, dang, you know, and have to evaluate how, like, why am I thinking this way? Why do I, you know, destroy people that annoy me? Is that something that's because of my day-to-day life? When I have these dreams, this is a way for me to control things better.
Well, somebody could do it to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Somebody could be dreaming about you and make a bad
So
situation.
there's now a karma argument.
I
mean,
yeah.
you
I
know.
mean, yes to all of that. It I don't know. I think that realizing that in my dreams I got annoyed pretty easy. I realized that it's probably an underlying subconscious thing about me that I just get annoyed with everything.
Do you get pretty annoyed just in this world, or just in your dreams?
Not normally, just in my dreams, but I felt
Yeah.
like it probably meant that subconsciously I was getting annoyed with a lot of things.
Yeah.
So then I did consciously while I was awake, not in my dreams. I still get annoyed pretty easy in my dreams. Just stop and then work through things. I don't know.
Do you have dreams like where you can't control it because it feels like everything's real life, and you're like, oh, this is just another day. I no reason. Like, example, me, I've actually gotten up, taken a shower, didn't sleep good the night before, come to work, I'm tattooing people, the Kansas board comes in, and in the day I'm exhausted. It's like I need to go get a drink and go home, watch a movie, and just relax. And all of a sudden I'm waking up in my bed like, damn it, I just dreamed a whole extra day of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst.
I wake up exhausted, like I slept the whole night, but I'm dreaming that I've been out working, doing stuff, and
Well, yeah, I have dreams that I don't realize that I'm dreaming,
yeah.
and it just goes through it.
Can you
And
fly in your dreams?
Sometimes.
See, I can jump higher. I can manipulate the rules, like gravity.
Like Neo in the Matrix.
I can, I can be stronger. I can do stuff that I normally can't now. But for me, just to be like, okay, I want to fly, it's like, yeah, I can't. Now, from this building to that building, obviously I can't make that, but in my dreams I can. I don't know.
Well, teleporting is my go-to in
Yeah.
dreams, where it's like I don't want to be here anymore, and then I close my eyes and then I open them up. I'm in a different place.
Can you manifest hot bitches? That would be the first thing I would do if I was dreaming. I would have, you know, manifest this.
I
hot
have
chick
done
and-
that a few times.
Oh I'll have to try that.
I'll get myself into a situation, and I'm like, oh God, I can't cheat on April. I'm like, wait, I'm dreaming.
Go
fuck
ahead.
it. Whatever.
Man, so what about you, Ryan? Let's hear. I don't have any experience with this. Once I realize I'm dreaming, I wake up almost every time. I do have experiences where I think I'm asleep, but I'm kind of laying there awake and it's just me thinking. But it's that middle ground between being awake and being asleep, and I'm just like, oh shit, I was awake, or oh shit, I was asleep. But now I'm awake, but then I'm not awake. Then I wake up and I'm like, oh shit, and then I'm confused. I was
Then
like,
you look at
well,
the clock like, well shit, it's been an hour. Well, your nap.
I don't look at the clock. I don't look at the clock when I'm at nighttime. When I go to the bathroom, I try to feel my way to the bathroom, because if I see light, I wake right up. So that might be my deal. I always have this feeling that I'm missing out on something. This is why I get up super early in the morning. Once I wake up, I'm like, oh shit, I'm awake. I might as well. My alarm's gonna go off in an hour, but I won't be able to get back to sleep now. So go ahead, Ryan. Lay
I
it on
don't
me.
say that I particularly can manipulate things. I think that's where I get frustrated in my dreams, is it's almost like it's reliving it over and over, but it's super real.
Like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, like I'll go in, but I can wake up, go to the bathroom, and be like, what the hell was that? Lay down, and immediately my dream picks up where it left off.
Oh, that would be cool sometimes.
So it's not like this, I can do like he said, where I'm like, oh, I don't like this, and I make it disappear. It's almost like I'm forced to live through it. It's super real. I'm trying my best to get out of a situation or to make things better. And then it's like something horrible, like I was drowning once. I woke up and I was like, oh my God, what, and I was like, actually, holy, and Tabby's like, you all right? And I was like, yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom. I sit there and think, what in the hell was that even about? My God. Almost trying to, the where you said, like, I'm wanting to get woke up. Like,
Right.
piss on that. I don't want to do that again. I'll finally lay down, and then I'm immediately right back to being drowned, and I'm
Oh, geez,
struggling.
that's a bad one.
I'm fighting my way out of it, and then but I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, okay, screw this. But like 2 hours has gone by since I went back and laid to bed. So mine seemed like it's an endless loop of the same thing, but like compounding on it. It's not like a variety of like, oh, now I'm here and oh, here's this person. It's just situations that are so lifelike that like I said, woke up gasping for air. I was like, oh my
Are they
God.
bad experiences all the time, or sometimes?
Not all the time, but if they're bad, they're like super bad.
You're gonna almost guaranteed to go back into.
And then it's like you said, you wake up and then it's time I have to actually wake up, and it's like, I don't even think I slept last night.
Waking up exhausted is horrible.
And it is, and then it's that anxiety. Then I'm filled with anxiety. Then I'm going downstairs, taking my pill to try and get the edge off, and I'm just like, it's like it screws up the rest of your day. Then everything's anxiety. Then the self-doubt starts coming in. Well, can I actually even do this at work? It just screws my whole day. Because all I can think about is that horrible, just that.
So you literally had dreams affect your whole day.
Oh, my entire day.
I forget.
Like that, just self-doubt. It's almost like this shadow comes in, and now it's just jacked up my day. Things that I know I can do, I start going, but can I do that? I mean, am I able to do that? What if I screw up? Well, God, if you screw up, maybe that's what the dream was about. You screw up, so now I'm going to screw up, and then I'm going to get fired, and it will just jack my whole day up.
Man,
That would be strange.
that's
because
miserable.
So a lot of times I'll get up and I'll want to, like, I wake up and like come out of a dream, and then I'll go take a piss, and I'm like, well, it's 4:30. I was getting up at 5 anyway, and then Katie's alarm will go off, and I know I'm in the bathroom and I'm waiting for her to show up in there to start getting her morning started, and I'm going to tell her about the dream, and then I've forgotten it by the time she got there.
Yeah,
Or-
so vivid, so
Yeah.
quick, and then dissipates like that.
Or like I'll be at work and I'll be telling a guy about a dream, and then like this guy I work with now, we roll around in the truck together, and I'll like tell him about the dream in the morning, and then like after lunch comes around and he's like, yeah, like your dream last night, and I'll be like, what, remind me.
Oh.
And I've forgotten what, and then he'll be like, oh yeah, and then I don't remember the same details that I told him. I'm like, God damn it, like I can't remember what I I can't remember what the dream was. Like it's gone.
Yeah.
So that would suck to have to dwell on
Funny
that.
thing about dreams is like nobody gives a shit. Like you gotta tell somebody about a dream you had.
And yes, and that's it.
And it means a lot to me. It was so emotionally involved. And I do it to April, then she'll do it to me, and I'm kind of like, I'm gonna listen. She listens to mine, but mine are more important.
Right, yeah, they're right.
Like mine have meaning.
Cooler. Well, like we were watching a Family Guy yesterday, and
That's what I was thinking.
yeah, and she's telling about her dream, and Peter gets up and he starts
Slowly walking out of the
Right.
camera.
And the kids take cyanide
Yeah,
pills.
and the kids are at the kitchen table and they're like, and she just keeps talking. And Peter gets out of the house, his phone rings. She's like, and then he was doing this, and I was laughing because I'm like, that's how I feel. I don't. You tell someone, oh, let me tell you about the dream. They're like,
Well, it's such a visual, emotional experience for you that's not real, and you're trying to explain it to somebody. They're never gonna get it.
and that's
Not the
it.
way you got it.
Or you get well,
Interesting stuff kind of
No,
happens.
Tabby's good at listening, but it's one of those you almost feel you can't convey the importance it was to you.
Right.
So you're trying to, and then you're like, this is just sounding more stupid than. It's like, no, I was drowning, and then, oh my God, that's horrible. And yeah, but, I had to swim down through these levels, and if I could just get to it, and it's like, never mind, I'm not going to be able to. The dream was a lot more than how I can actually put it
Right.
into words. So,
You have to
never
actually be in my
mind.
head.
How do you explain emotions? Like the fear of drowning and the panic and all that stuff. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, most of my dreams are about the emotion that I'm feeling during the event. And it's like, how do you explain that?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think you can because
You can
it's
dream
your
emotions.
not anybody else's.
That's
Yeah.
funny. I can dream emotion. Is kind of the weird one. And when I was a kid, I kept having a dream about these. Now, when I say kid, I'm probably 3-4 years old, and this went on probably till my mid to late teens, and then every once, so they kept getting further apart. But I was seeing these gigantic things sticking out of the ground, and they kind of reminded me of a cross between like dandelions and like Q-tips, and there's like a weird noise to it. I can't explain, but they're huge structures. And then all of a sudden, like, these windmills started coming in the past like 15, 20 years. And in my dream that I was dreaming, this is the closest thing that I can compare them to. So I think I may have been dreaming about these windmills
I remember you telling me
before
about this,
they
yeah.
actually got here.
Damn. Like a
Foreshadowing.
clairvoyant.
Yeah.
Premonition, yeah.
I was seeing them before they were here pretty regularly in my childhood. And there was just kind of a weird noise that I still, like I said, it was also dreaming an emotion. I don't know why, but then all of a sudden, like when I seen one, like they started popping up around here. I got close to one. I was like, this is what it was. I had that dream like all over again. It's like, this is what I've been dreaming about my whole life.
There's a website, and I think you might be able to look it up, but I think it's called nde.com. And it's near-death-experience.com, and there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that will protest or they'll confess their experience, what they had with the near-death experience. And there's just, it's uncanny, the same experiences that people see the light and they see but I think that's what it's called. And there's testimony from hundreds of thousands and maybe even millions of people that have experienced near-death experience, and they basically all have this similar story, because it's not a conscious thought. You're dying. You've died on the table, or you've had a experience that almost killed you, and then they tell these stories, and it's just typed in testimony. Is that what it is? Do you see it, Ryan?
It is NDERF, Near Death Experience Research Foundation, is the largest near-death experience stories website.
So what's their mission statement there? What do they have to say? Like,
Where science and spirituality come together. 5,300 experiences from all over the world in many languages.
okay, so I was way off on my numbers, but 5,300.
Yep. So it says it has 500,000 readers a month. and it's just basically being able to, NDE definition, a lucid experience associated with perceived consciousness apart from the body occurring at the time of actual or threatened imminent death. So they're able to, all these near-death experiences, this is what this website is, and it's actually offers support groups, because it must be rough for people to obviously have near-death experiences, and then they're telling their stories through how it was lucid, the lucidity of it and all of that.
It's weird how the human body is built to die. Like, there's like a guideline of stuff they go through to. I was watching a documentary on it, but your body tells, like, there's a whole list of things that go into dying. Like, you won't be hungry, you won't get thirsty, you'll eventually take your last breath and kind of shit after that. And it's just really odd to me how we all have this thing mapped into us where it releases like DMT, and I don't know. We're so focused on living because you do it every day.
When you hear all the time about how people are their most lucid right before they die, that
Yep.
they could be bedridden, be in a coma, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" Blah blah blah.
Yeah, remember every
I
detail.
remember a good friend of mine. I was there with him when his mom was passing away because he didn't want to be there by himself. And they were like, "Well, it'll be any time." And I remember sitting there going, "Are you doctors not seeing what I'm seeing?"
She's getting better.
And that's what I thought. I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's taking a turn for the better." And like 30 minutes later, she was dead. But she was literally sitting there talking to us. Hey, you know, I'm not going to say the name just because it's not my story to tell, but her son, hey, you know, blah, blah, talking to him. And that has bothered me ever since.
That's how my grandpa was.
I'm like, that's not fair. That's, like, that's false hope, you know, because
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing. His mom's doing better. She talked and talked and talked, and then almost like just slipped back into her comatose state. And then 30 minutes later, she was gone. And I was like, no, that's not, no.
It's
That's
where our
not
body's
how
got all
that
these
goes.
chemicals, and maybe not a lot of them, or a mixture of them, or how it deals with it, with the brain and stuff shutting down, or body shutting down, but it releases them. It's like we carry them our whole life.
Ugh.
And they're ready at any given time to start shutting things down.
Well,
Like when the occasion occurs, I guess.
some people theorize, and so I wonder if this chemical release is embedding memories from your past life, because some people say that light that you see at the end of the tunnel is the birth canal of your new life. Like you're dying in this
Gotcha.
life and then you're being born
reincarnated.
into, you're being reincarnated. So I wonder if that lucidness at the end of your life is basically burning an imprint into your mind, and then you, so that you don't make the same mistakes, or
Maybe
so you don't live the new life.
This would explain a lot of kids when they're born to like 3 or 4. Usually, like the percentage of children have like prior life experiences when they're young. More
Well, that's what
creative
I'm
and
thinking.
stuff.
Like deja vu is you
Yeah.
remember things. Maybe you're reliving your life until you get it right, or
Like
what,
kind of like a
whatever.
butterfly effect. Like you have a chance to change this outcome right now. It's like I'm coming up over a hill. I feel a gut feeling there's like a police officer there.
Yeah.
I've gotten a ticket here before, but it's my first time driving on this road. So you slow down, get to the top of the hill. I was like, dang, that's weird. There is a police officer sitting
Right.
up there.
Or especially when when you're a kid and you're with a group of 3 of your friends and it's you and they're all wanting to do this, and you get that gut feeling and you're like, I don't want to get in trouble. You have an overwhelming sensation of this isn't right, or you got the rock in your hand and the window's right there.
Yep.
And you've got to make that decision. Do I throw this rock through the window or I don't? And apparently I'm not ready. Because the rock was
I'm not
always
ready.
going through the
They
window.
always go through the window.
You know.
I'm not ready.
There's some people say that it's just because the multiple universe thing,
Yep.
multiple realities, you're experiencing it at the same time that other versions of you are experiencing it at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're
I like
going,
that theory too.
You're
Like the deja vu type too?
yeah, the deja vu's
Ah, okay.
specific.
You're
they say
all
that's,
doing that at the
at
same
the same
time.
time,
all versions
so-
of you.
and some of them are probably doing it a little bit earlier than you're doing it, or exactly at the same time, and then
That's
you're
why you're like,
you're-
wait, I've already
yeah,
seen this.
it's like this is happening again. It's like, nope, it's not happening again, it's happening at the same time. And
I like that theory too.
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun to romanticize these different things because there's no way of really telling. Some people have
Yeah.
really compelling theories that I think that we want to romanticize because that's what, like Ryan was talking about earlier, that's what grasps our attention. That's what's the most appealing to us. So we latch onto those philosophies and those theories like, oh yeah, this works. This makes the most sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you abandon that idea later, or you stay, or that's, some people, that's their whole life, is they find something in their life, like Hunter S. Thompson in the Gonzo News, like once he discovered this type of journalism, that was his shtick, and it worked for him, and he was really involved in it, and that defined him, and his name lives on. I watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas again the other day. I know it's not the same as the book, but it's such
They turned it into a book.
Yeah, they turned it into a book, oddly enough.
It is such a good movie, though.
It is, and it's very
Good movie.
compelling. It's just one of those, you can't just watch it one time.
No.
You
The
have
more
to
you watch it, the better it gets.
It gets better every time you watch it, and you gotta, you're remembering the different, things that happen. Like, oh yeah, that, and then you miss stuff, and you're like, but then you can start to point it to things in your life, even, because it's so deep. The book, I'm sure, or the book that they made off of the movie was probably even better. I've never. Yeah.
I really did not know that was a book.
You didn't know it was a movie?
Huh.
You learn something new every day.
There's another wrinkle in my brain.
Yeah, it is, that whole thing with the ESP. I mean, John and I have spent hours just discussing it more than one time when we get back to the subject, and it's just like, and it's hard to break what you believe about it. You kind of got an idea what ESP is or what deja vu is, and I think it's because you're probably right, and what's right for me isn't probably right for Nate, and what's not right for you, but because our experiences are different, so the way that we experience these are the same to us, but I don't think I'm ever gonna lucid dream, I've tried. I wouldn't say tried, because once I realized that this is a dream, I'm out of the dream. Cause I'm like, man, this is weird. Cause I've had it happen, I'm like, this is a strange, and then I'm like, oh, damn it, I was dreaming, but now I'm awake, and
Now you're in control because you're awake.
I guess maybe that's what it is.
That's your problem. You're waking up too early.
And they say the way to start lucid dreaming, at least Gene from Bob's Burgers.
Oh, well, yeah.
Once you wake up, you write down your dreams, and immediately just write it down. And then if you go back to sleep, or if you stay awake for the rest of the day, it still solidifies that you were dreaming. And then when you go to sleep again, you can start to pick out, hey, this might be a dream, and then it leads you into being able to start controlling things.
I like that episode.
I've got to work in the morning. I don't have time to get up and do a journal entry.
Well, I used to keep a sketchbook on my nightstand, and I'd wake up and draw a quick picture or jot something down. Now, of course, the problem is with that, like it makes sense there, or maybe for a few days, but if I go like a month, go back through my sketchbook, I'm like, what the fuck was I dreaming here? Like, what's this picture? Because of course, good artist, but when you go into quick sketching, like I made short, I guess, like short writing like you'd probably do, quick notes. I do quick sketching.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, that's interesting. I don't know where I was going with that, but
it's a start. Like
documentation of some sort goes a long ways.
Just so that maybe the next day you realize, hey, I dreamed this, and this is what I wrote down. And it's like, hey, and something similar is happening. So then you start to realize that you're dreaming. But I also read that lucid dreaming isn't the greatest sleep. Like when you're lucid dreaming, you're not getting your REM sleep like you're supposed to be, and then you're not getting a good amount of sleep because you're actively doing something in your dream.
So in REM sleep, is there, I know that the thought is that you reach REM sleep and that's what you need to get the resets to happen and the cognitive function to happen, better when you are awake because you've reached that. So, I mean, you seem to know more about it than I do. Is there no dreaming in REM sleep? So are you actually in REM sleep if you're dreaming?
I don't know where the I think the REM sleep's when you're not dreaming at all, because that's, like you said, where the reset is. And so if you're just stuck in the place between being awake and getting the restful sleep, that's where you're dreaming.
But dreams only last a matter of seconds, so you might have a dream that seemed like it was a lot longer than it was. Doesn't mean you didn't get. Well, like me last night, went to bed at 11 o'clock. Probably fell asleep around 11:30. I was like, yes, I'm gonna be on perfect schedule. I'll be up probably right around 5. But I usually go to bed at 10, so I was like, all right, I need to go right to bed. Because usually I watch a movie till 11:30, midnight. But I think I actually went to bed earlier last night because I told myself, I was like, I'm usually in bed and I didn't really watch the movie. I was like, oh, I gotta be up. So of course I was up at 4:30 this morning.
Isn't it strange that we can psychologically psych ourselves out of getting some good sleep? It's like I did this last night too. I usually get up at 5:30 on Saturday.
But you knew your alarm was gonna go off.
So I set my alarm for 6, and then guess what time I got up this morning? 5:30. And I went to bed just a little bit later. And I was like, I can go to bed a little bit later. I was watching something on TV, and I was like, I can watch this. I'm gonna set my alarm for 6, and then I'll just go ahead and sleep an extra 30 minutes, so that'll give me exactly 8 hours of sleep. And when I went to bed last night, I was just laying there, and I don't know how long, because sometimes it seems like you're laying there forever when you really went to sleep.
Right.
But then I woke up and I was like, damn it, it's 5:30. It was like 5:36. Like, there's no way I'm gonna go back to sleep for 30 minutes here. I'm just gonna get up. And I'm like, well, now I didn't get 8 hours of sleep. But do you really need 8 hours of sleep? I was thinking about this. I was gonna talk to you guys about it, and I guess we will now. So
I don't want to. I want to take a nap.
they say that that 8 hours is optimal sleep. Between 7 and 9 hours is like what you're supposed to get for sleep. But we also say fasting, intermittent fasting is good. So sometimes we fast for 24 hours, to boost your health. Fast for 72 hours, fast for 48 hours. What about if you fast your sleep? So like, I'm gonna not sleep for 24 hours to boost my, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense of what I'm
It's
saying?
interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But
So like, deprive yourself from sleep to boost your mental function, so that when you do get some sleep, like, it's fascinating.
Cognitive
I'm gonna restrict
function.
myself from calories for 24 hours straight. I'm not gonna eat for 24 hours straight, and that's supposed to help your digestive system and things like that go along. Or is it the opposite? Like, you need to sleep for 12 hours instead? Because I know there's been days where, like, it's been a rough week. I haven't been sleeping. I've been working extra hours. It just seems like I never got much sleep, and then I'll be out for a full 10 hours of sleep. And that is so rare, because I'm usually up anyway. But once in a while, it's like my body's like, hey, dude, you're catching up on all this sleep. I don't know if it works that way.
Well, if you're up longer, I think you're gonna want to eat more.
For the calories, because your brain's burning those calories.
So I'm guessing.
Because it is. If you take a math test, it's just like running a half mile. If you're really stressing your brain out, you're burning a certain amount of calories.
I wonder how many calories I do just being hyper focused on doing ink on skin. It's very intense. Like, it's not like drawing in a sketchbook. I mean, this is like,
There's other factors.
There's
too.
mental-
It's somebody else's body that you're putting this on.
yeah, it's their body, not mine.
Yeah, their body, their choice.
They want to refuse to sink ink, or I'll do it.
I got your back. What time's it getting there to be, Ryan?
It is 8:36.
About an hour and 45 minutes.
I think that's pretty good. Until we get better content and get something going, I don't think people are gonna watch for full 3 hours of
Right.
just bullshit. And one of these days they will, once it catches on. But you guys good with it, or is there
Yeah.
anything else anybody wants to talk about this morning?
I think I'm good.
Nate Dog?
No.
John Dog?
No, dude, I'm good.
All right, shut her down. Thanks, everyone.
Everybody smile.